powered by Reviting, streaming from the Reviting Digital Studio. It's the David Daily. Exploring frontier technology, artificial intelligence, quantum innovation, and the intersection of faith, funding, and the future. Here's your host, David Goki.
Welcome to a very, very special edition of The David Show on none other than Christmas Day, Thursday, December 25th. I'm incredibly excited to be here. Thank you for watching, listening, tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed an hour of wonderful Christmas music this morning. We have a beautiful Christmas music that has been going on today. It's been such a wonderful experience this morning. And we've got some good current events for you, some news as we do daily on this show. And just so you know, we have a special edition today focused on funding, faith, the future on Christmas Day. And we're going to get right into the current events today because that's the most important aspect of this show. And we're going to jump right in. So quantum computing is hot as well. Also, NVIDIA licenses of the Grok AI chip expand leadership. NVIDIA has acquired a non-exclusive license to Grok's inference chip, and their architecture and hiring key executives, strengthening its AI focus, as well as the AI hardware portfolio. We see this being a very important aspect of NVIDIA's go-to-market plan in the AI space, and they're strengthening their AI hardware portfolio, especially while maintaining competition. In fact, industry analysts see a strategic alternative to full acquisitions, helping NVIDIA sidestep antitrust issues while also accelerating real-time AI interference capability. The reason why we love this is because we now have yet a very unique and special aspect of people going to market. NVIDIA itself, the largest company in the world today, being very innovative in the way that it thinks about large language models. Obviously, NVIDIA has been notoriously a kind of a startup that's been more of a hardware startup. But as you know, we are going to see NVIDIA come to light in their new licensing with Grok. And of course, they have been a leader in this for a very long time. I think Jensen Huang will continue to be a powerhouse of an individual, pushing through and fighting through all of the things that make sense, as well as, in addition to that, being very key on his investments in large language models, as we're seeing here today. This is quite incredible, quite insane, quite interesting, where NVIDIA itself is actually launching robots as well and having the full hardware in its data center. As you can see here on screen, model makers are using NVIDIA for the next generation, as well as experts are powering top frontier models, which are 10x faster on AI. And of course, NVIDIA Live with Jensen Huang will be live January 5th at 1 p.m. Pacific. I hope that you can make it with us there that day. Thank you so much again for tuning in. In other news, we also see that Opendoor, of all companies, is actually pivoting towards AI and homebuyer.com acquisition. If you don't know about Opendoor Technologies, they're a company on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is a stock exchange in the United States. And it is very interesting that Opendoor Technologies common stock is actually soaring as it integrates homebuyer.com. If you don't know homebuyer.com, it is a Zillow competitor, and it is now a part of Opendoor, according to their website, which is so fascinating to me. Opendoor is now part of homebuyer.com, and a new website experience will be live on January 15th. How incredible is that? We're going to see a lot of movement there, and we're very excited to see that come into fruition as well. In the news, of course, yesterday, the stock market closed early. We saw quantum stocks doing quite well in the US stock market. We know that quantum stocks are going to continue to do well, even though there is some hypothesis that they may be volatile and divergent trajectories. We see Rigetti Computing and D-Wave Quantum remain volatile, but in the spotlight as pure play quantum entities navigating valuation challenges and catalysts in 2026. So we know that there is a quantum model for the stock market itself, And we actually have a paper here coming out of the School of Physics and Engineering in China from Guangzhou, China. If you have not seen this, I would encourage you to take a look. This is the type of news that you're going to be paying attention to. This is exactly what we're talking about here, a quantum model for the stock market. So School of Economics and Business Administration came together in Chongqing University in China. And you can actually contact this corresponding author at their 126 email address. But basically right here, beginning at the basic, the hypothesis for quantum mechanics, there's actually a new quantum model in econophysics. So in other words, how do we think about physics and how do we think about the world of quantum actually coming together? This is very fascinating. This is hot off the press. This is going to be very interesting to follow in the current events cycle as we go into the stock trading as early as tomorrow, the 27th. That's right. The stock market will be open tomorrow, Friday. Tomorrow is a business day. We're looking forward to that, see how the market will deliver. In other news, we also have King Charles delivering a Christmas message focused on unity and compassion. We love that this morning. If you didn't catch that, King Charles actually urges reconciliation and courage in his Christmas message. You can actually catch that on all major platforms. I believe CNN has a role in that. You want to make sure that you do catch him directly in London. We're saying that that came in strong this morning with positive regard, lots of positive regard to King Charles. And we're saying that actually he is bringing a level of intentionality, could we call it? He's bringing a level of reconciliation and courage for all those who want to do that this year in this season, and really calling world peace to the world. We see him coming live from the CNN BBC studios as we're rebroadcasting this. And he actually preaches spiritual unity in this Christmas message. It is really quite wonderful. You should go check this out. It's a wonderful message. Very much a London production in BBC studios. You can check that out on CNN today. We'd highly recommend you do that, of course, because we care about all of the latest and the greatest events that are happening in society today on Christmas. That's right, 25 days strong. And of course, we're going to share with you as well that Disney itself actually has a magical Christmas Day parade. That's right. Disney World had, and all the Disney parks, of course, you have Disney cruises across the world, entertain audiences with live performances all across the globe in today's celebration with live performances from top artists, reinforcing cultural continuity and holiday celebration across all major platforms. If you want to watch that, of course, you can go check that on Disney Plus, which is a streaming platform. Of course, we see just Alfonso Ribeiro and Jennifer Goodwin step in as hosts for this year's broadcast, which features performances by Coco Jones, Gwen Stefani, and many, many more. So be sure, if you've got kids at home, this might be a fun watch for you, just to go check the global parade for the 2025 Disney Parks Magical Parade. For those folks who love Disney, this is such an interesting perspective to see Disney lean in here, and they are ready to go with their parks. So with that, we're going to end our initial segment around the current events, and we're going to jump right into quantum topics. Quantum topics is one of my personal favorites. Quantum topics are on the rise, and it's important for us to stay connected to these quantum topics. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all the people watching. We have 15 or so people across all major platforms. Thank you to my friends on TikTok. I really appreciate you just leaning in there. For the people on TikTok, we also see people across X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all the socials. Check David Goki. The David Daily is also live on all major podcast platforms. And I really want to just highlight that the David Daily went live on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you're looking for an Apple Podcast near you, please listen to the David Daily. It is a wonderful episode for the David Daily show. Make sure you look at that by David Goki. You can check that in the comments, of course, but you can always check that on Spotify itself as well. We love to see this showing up. Thank you to the production team behind the scenes, always making it happen. You can see that show right here on Apple Podcast. It is great. You can check it every day. The daily episodes. And please submit a review on there. Would love to see you submitting a positive 5-star review. Share what you love. If there's something you dislike or you want to hear differently, please share that as well. We're welcome and open to all sorts of feedback. And with that, we're going to go over to quantum topics, my personal favorite. The reason why I love quantum topics primarily is because when we have quantum topics on the show, we get to also learn those quantum topics with you as well. And we're often learning these things as well as the tip of the spear and being so invested in quantum topics. And quantum topics include the quantum computing remaining a strategic market theme. In fact, we're seeing that quantum technologies are remaining a draw for investors in the market as long-term sector narratives, along with analysts, are pointing to undervalued pure play stocks and strategic positioning ahead of broader adoption. We mentioned Rigetti on the markets as well as IonQ, and now we have D-Wave Quantum. These are the 3 stocks we'll be tracking financially wise: D-Wave Quantum, QBTS, and we also have Rigetti as well, RGTI, and then of course IonQ, which is a very important ticker symbol. I'll put those up on the banner right now. Make sure you're watching D-Wave. This is a very interesting company. We also have Rigetti Computing as well on the NASDAQ. We've been following that as well. So just make sure that you're following these companies, all things quantum. And furthermore, secondly, we're looking at Honeywell. Now, do you have a fan at home? Do you have one of those refrigerators? Do you have a power tool by Honeywell or something that's been efficiently produced by a motor like Honeywell? Well, Honeywell's quantum strategy and quantum growth is actually substantiated as Quantinum, which is Honeywell's quantum subsidiary. They actually came out with their own subsidiary inside of Honeywell. We actually see that growth happening very rapidly, $600 million at a $10 billion valuation. We feel like this is a very significant piece of the quantum industry, and we love to see internally a company like Honeywell, which has been notoriously more of a large enterprise, they're actually announcing a $600 million capital raise. And that's exactly right, a capital raise, which is a huge raise on the Quantum Corporation at a pre-money equity valuation. To do what exactly? Good question. We'll let you know about that soon. But the key here is that we're going to be showing that, and on top of that, we're I'm just bringing up the news article here so you can see it as I produce this while I'm going on Christmas. Thank you for watching. But yeah, Honeywell announces this $600 million capital raise for Quantinum, and it's going to advance quantum computing at scale. If you're in quantum computing, go big is the key message here. Just go big. There are hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions of dollars going to figure out this industry. And it'll be very interesting to see. We see JP Morgan Chase, as well as Mitsui, Amgen, Cambridge Quantum Holdings, and Serendipity Capital are also venture partners in this big, huge raise. It also includes participation from new investors like Mesh, and you named it, Korea Investment Partners is also in on this deal. It'll be so interesting to see how Korea continues to invest in quantum to stay up to date with China, and to also be very, very close to the quantum computing landscape. Say that 3 times fast if you can on live feed. I triple dog dare you. Anyways, as we move on to other areas, we want to remind you that quantum research is actually driving a hybrid AI integration strategy. In fact, quantum AI companies will do well primarily in academia and in industry research. We see that academics are investing heavily into quantum AI, especially as we saw yesterday, India Prime Minister announced a very large fund to educate people who are interested in this. And again, that is 5 million individuals. It's quite crazy. So just make sure that you're leaning into that and learning and knowing everything about quantum. Of course, tune into this show because guess what? Every single day we're tuning in on quantum workloads, quantum topics. And that is our third quantum topic, hybrid AI integration. As we move to other quantum topics, global quantum funding and workforce are actually discoursing. Broad quantum ecosystem tracking shows involvement from major institutions. We're talking about IBM, IonQ, IQM, and CRNS. So we're just going to generate an image here with our AI producer. And IBM is a huge company, right? You're talking about a Fortune 500 company making massive investments into quantum. IonQ, of course, being that stock market company. And then, of course, we want to see actually more of these quantum workloads taking effect, taking the market by storm. And we absolutely love that. We see the quantum chips and quantum computing are going to be very important in this next season, especially as we see makers come to the table, right? People who are actually building real stuff with quantum. And also, we're going to continue to see the traditional companies racing to stay ahead. And that's going to be very important so that those who are following along are actually building real quality things with quantum. We know that quantum chips are here. This is a picture of that. Of course, we have quantum AI data centers as well that are coming to market, which we also love to see as well. And then, of course, we're getting down to those actual fibers in quantum, and the research centers are taking these major issues to fruition, to market, not only from a research point of view, but also very real hardware is being developed and already deployed. And of course, we know that there will be lots of software, as there always is, especially in any emerging market. Software always plays a big role. All right, just going back to the comments, looks like we have a lot of comments in the feed. Thank you so much. Yes, I am a real person and I am live. This is not a bot. Thank you so much for joining in. Really appreciate you. Yes, we are live right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also, if you're on Spotify, go ahead and follow us on Spotify as well. Would love to see you following the show. Thank you so much. We're also on Apple Podcasts, as you know. Thank you so much. We're on Apple Podcasts. Thank you to the folks who are showcasing this. We love to see it all come to life. And so just thank you so much. And thank you so much for the audiences that are tuning in. We love to see that. It is always a pleasure. We got some big, long feedbacks here. Wonderful. Love that. Thank you so much. All right, finally, our last, fifth, and final topic for quantum is this. We're actually seeing that post-quantum cryptography worries are actually resurfacing. Why is that? Because quantum computing's potential impact on cryptographic security for blockchain and digital assets is increasingly discussed as a preparation issue rather than a distant threat. What does that mean? That simply means that if you are in technology and you're wanting to invest into security with cryptography, quantum is a solution for you. And more importantly, post-quantum cryptography being widespread, we're going to see lots of security challenges hit the roofs and hit the streets. So we want to make sure that we actually have access to safe and secure workloads. We want our security, our passwords, but also for all of those hashes that are currently out on the market, for example, in cryptocurrency, in your secure passwords on Dashlane and password managers. All those are coming together because we see that crypto is actually going to be a huge part of this. And we want you to know too, as well, that as we start to learn about digital systems and digital opportunities, we will keep you in the loop for all of those as well. Just letting you know that when we hear current events come up, we will make sure that we also share those with you so that you can be informed, so you can be educated, inspired, but also so you can be safe, because we want your security to be safe. We want you to have an opportunity to really lean into the safe and secure workloads. We know that's going to be an important aspect of life going forward as we know it. So I'm just putting a little security icon up here. It's incredibly important to focus on security. We know that in this coming day and age that we're facing a life requiring security and safety, especially in technology, but also on your physical devices. So be watching out for New Year's and Christmas hoaxes and scams. Make sure you're checking out for that. And furthermore, we'd like you to encourage you to change your passwords because that is one of the most secure ways to ensure your safety this season. Change your passwords. Make sure that you change passwords specifically for like financial institutions and others. We see that that's going to play a major role in the way that we live going forward. And it's always a good idea to change your password every 72 days. That's exactly right. Every quarter, change your password. Make sure that you're being safe and secure. And we want you to be that way. But also, more so, it's important that you remind yourself that Quantum will be bringing a large set of workloads that will aim to crack your passwords. And that means major banking, major real estate, major finance. We're going to see massive upgrades across all major platforms. And that's exactly why we talk about quantum topics here on the show every day, coming to you live. And that's an incredible aspect. Also, I'd like to announce right now that if you're watching this, please comment the word signal. Comment the word signal. We very much want you to comment the word signal because as you comment that word signal, we will be showcasing an executive brief to you at the end of this show. And we have a team right now that is working on that specifically behind the scenes to ensure that you have an executive brief in your inbox every week as it relates to the David Daily and all the shows that are actually coming up live for you on this show, because that's an important aspect of keeping you informed, making sure that if you catch this live or if you catch this after the fact, that yeah, of course, you too can build in your own signals. And we want to see more people catching these daily signals, applying them to their life, and if possible, even saying that it could be good to check your finances, your funding, maybe the latest faith updates, as well as what is happening in the future of technology. And that's exactly why we want you to come in and check on the future signals that are happening in our world today. Secondly, if this is your first time watching, smash that like button, hit the subscribe. We want to see your name show up regularly every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, New York City, 8 a.m. Pacific. It's incredibly exciting to follow the news, the current events, but also explore quantum topics and be interested in AI and faith movements. And that is my next segment of the show, which is AI and faith. We have a wonderful set of AI and faith topics today. Part of this purpose is to focus on what we would call nonprofits, and we would call that nonprofits and service organizations, really anyone who cares about AI and faith, which is an organization that helps us learn more about the role that artificial intelligence has in technology. What role does security, ethics, morals, that sort of a thing play as an infrastructure piece in AI and faith? And so during the holiday tech acceleration, we do want to focus on values that align with our faith of choice. So that's the first topic today, is that in a day marked by celebration and reflection, leaders across faith traditions are emphasizing not only discernment, but also community well-being and compassion as guiding principles in technology's spread. I love this first topic because reflecting on values during the holiday acceleration is so important. It's important, especially on a day marked by celebration like today, that we think about how we can emphasize community well-being and discernment across all major platforms as humans. Secondly, unity and belonging are core human values. King Charles's Christmas address today, for example, highlights that, and spiritual leaders are marking this season as something to come together, shared reconciliation, and shared values that transcend all divisions. According to The Guardian, we see King Charles calling for reconciliation and unity in his Christmas message. I would recommend you check that out. It is about a bit of work to listen to, but you can find it on CNN, BBC, and others. Third, as AI is reshaping rework and work, AI is also shaping exactly what it means to be human. And in fact, faith perspectives are reiterating what AI has already supplemented, showing us that even while AI transforms tasks, it does not replace purpose, moral agency, or the uniquely human role in leadership and stewardship. This has been a constant theme this year. We're excited to revisit this, that in fact, artificial intelligence and quantum can scale your tasks, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that it does not take away from your leadership or your stewardship. And in fact, speaking of leadership, ethical leadership over algorithmic dominance is so important because we know that humans are leaders, right? We know that humans are leaders, and spiritual frameworks underscore that ethics must be operationalized as foundational leadership infrastructure, not as just some aspirational rhetoric rather. And so spiritual frameworks are taking the core in these ethical leadership conversations first and not last. So we're actually saying that now the last shall be first and the first shall be last, which is pretty exciting. By the way, I just want to take a quick second to say thank you for everyone who is following and commenting. I see Carrie saying Merry Christmas, David. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. I see folks saying thank you. Good to see you, Burnell, Dion J. Good to see Butterfly. We see Jesse and Moscow. We see a handful of other folks like Cristo. I'm just going through the comments here. Lots of people joining. So good to see you all. And early on, we had Crow Key as well as SABR player, as well as some other folks joining the live stream. Just so thank you so much for joining. Really grateful for all the people who are joining. I see GSNE Noviembre. So we have a Spanish audience as well. Hola, hola, hola. Hello, hello, hello to my Spanish audience. And finally, our last topic is human-centered progress in a connected world. I absolutely love this one as a topic for many reasons, but primarily because AI should support human connection, not take away from it. And include that in dignity, shared progress, actually reinforcing technology's role as a tool rather than a sovereign force. What's up, Rubus? It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. I see lots of people coming in to say hello on Christmas. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. There's so many holidays. And so as a human-centered individual, I recall human-centeredness being so incredibly important. And that is part of why being a human-centered human brings back the human connection in emerging technologies. And that is exactly why I care about AI and ethics and AI and faith and any type of moral input into an AI engine. And I will leave it to my AI ethicists over at aiandfaith.org, who do a really good job not only of explaining this, but showcasing why it's so important to have AI ethics at the center of it all. And so if you haven't joined yet, please come check out the AI and Faith team. We have a load of experts on this platform, from research fellows to contributing fellows to advisors and to organizational partners. You can see all the partners that we partner with. AI 2030 Institute, which is a responsible artificial intelligence institute. We also see that AI Faith and Civil Society Commission is a big partner of ours. Civical duties, societal obligations, and senior leaders harnessing AI for human good and flourishing, protecting communities from harm. Founded in the UAE, based in England, AIFCS emerges and informs and engages religious leaders, policymakers, and tech companies addressing the risks and opportunities of AI. Of course, we have the American Scientific Affiliate, which helps us with our International Christians organization, in addition to BioLogos, who's an advocate for respectful dialogue, and the Center for Theology and Natural Sciences, which creates mutual interaction between theology and the natural sciences through research. We love good research. And then, of course, we have Christians in AI, which is a collective AI technologists over at our good friend Google. Richard Zhang is the founder of that, but it's now spreading to many organizations. Of course, you may have heard of Christianity Today, which is a faith-based magazine. Over 7 decades, they've elevated stories and ideas of the kingdom of God. Today, they are a partner of AI and faith. We also see even more so that we have some universities and other organizations here, Effective Altruism for Christians, the Friendship Press, Glue, which has an AI and a church initiative. Love those guys over in Boulder, Colorado, as well as the Iman Center in Kirkland, which is a Muslim Association of the Northwest, IMAN, in Kirkland, Washington. They've nurtured an environment that allows individuals to grow and contribute as they seek closeness to Allah. Very important. Of course, we have security and technology, trust as well, which is the 513C critical action tank, Islami City, and many, many more. I'll let you go through all of our partner organizations on here. Sometime it would be great to have you, as our valuable listeners, review and join AI and Faith. All right, so that is our AI and Faith episode segment. And now my personal favorite, which is an anchor segment called Beyond the Bag. And today, I literally am pulling out of my bag from Beyond the Bag a special piece of technology. It is a phone and watch charging stand. Yes, this makes it in my bag. You're probably asking me, how do you fit that in your backpack? Well, I don't take much with me, but this is my stand that holds my watch and my phone. I'm streaming right here from my phone. And I really love this device because it gives me the opportunity to charge, especially when I'm traveling. And I really need that always to stay fully connected and running a business from a phone, right? Which is what we do on Beyond the Bag. It's an episode talking about, or an episodic anchor talking about full-time travel. So if you're traveling today, if it's Christmas, maybe you're with family, with friends, maybe you're by yourself, I just want to encourage you to take a bag with you and to have so much fun while doing that. All right, finally, folks, the very last bit is our closing segment to say thank you for tuning in. We've made it 25 episodes. This is so wonderful. Catch us on all major platforms, including but not limited to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Kick, and many others. Please search for The David Daily and David Goki. Would love to see you on the show. By the way, if you want to be on the show, you can actually book in a referral request to our team at, you guessed it, guest.thedaviddaily.com. And I'll just put that on the ticker right here. You can go to guest.thedaviddaily.com. If you are an investor, an angel, a founding entrepreneur who's raised money, or anyone who has a faith and leadership perspective, so I'm calling all ministers, all pastors, all bishops to the table, all shepherds, all evangelists, all healers to the table. And finally, We have faith, funding, and future tech, so we wouldn't be a show without future tech. We're investing in future tech, future robotics, future quantum, any space exploration, future biomechanics and biotech, future of any industry. We want to have you on the show. Please join the show. And if we can't have you as a guest on the show tomorrow, we'll find a time appropriate for you to be on the show. And with that, I'm going to close out an outro here shortly. But I just want to say thank you to my dedicated, loyal followers and guests. I see Andy, I see Mr. Cameron, I see so many people, and I'm so incredibly grateful to be around, to be alive. And I'm so thankful that you are watching today and plan to stream tomorrow. All right, with that, have a wonderful Christmas with your family. Have a blessed and happy New Year. We're going to play this stream here real quick for the outro so that we have a nice, clean outro for the David Daily, and then we'll resume our regularly scheduled program.